There has been a big rise in AI content creation out there. So what does that mean for podcasting? And does that mean you should be starting one? That is what we're going to talk about this week. Stay tuned. I want to thank you for tuning in. I am Josh from Pedal Stomper Productions, and this week we're going to go back to a solo episode because I want to sit down and talk about AI and how it's affecting podcasting and what's the good, the bad, and where does this lead? The first thing that I'm going to tell you when it comes to AI, when someone tells you exactly where it's going and the timeline on it, they are lying to you or they are trying to sell you something. Plain and simple. The way things are working with this, you can estimate about how far out some things are. But we get surprises like this all of the time. When you think of how AI was developing through the GPTs before ChatGPT 4.0, there was a lot of developments out there. There's a lot of work to this. So really, when that came out, they said this isn't going to be a big deal. And that kind of changed the game for a lot of people for a lot of reasons. I know a lot of us are using AI in our workflow, and most of us didn't start using it until that point. So with that being said, how are we looking at this towards the future? So I have some ideas on this that I want to talk about and cover with you today, but let's talk about what the state of AI is and how it's affecting some of the marketing things that are out there currently. It's increasingly being used from a marketing standpoint to generate a lot of content, from news articles, just standard marketing copy, stuff that's for SEO, social media posts, and even creative writing. A lot of those things have become very AI generative. When you look at things, there's 1 billion blogs on the planet. When you look at podcasts, there's about 4 million active podcasts going on at any one time. Those numbers are going to be key for a little bit later. AI content, it does offer that efficiency and scalability when it comes to, especially on the marketing side of things, and especially in the written or print side of things. It really can speed those up. The generative nature of it really, really helps push those things out quickly and smoothly. And they can be trained to have certain brand voices. They can be trained to work in certain ways. They can be trained to do certain things. So it becomes tougher and tougher to distinguish AI content from normal written content every day. I've heard from a number of people that talk about the AI stuff when it comes to writing is that AI is the best AI is the best it has ever been, and it is the worst it ever will be from here on out. This is stuff that is constantly going to get better and better. And I know a lot of people out there are saying that, hey, they look at something and they're like, I instantly know that's AI. And there's some pieces out there where it's pretty obvious that someone just typed something in with weak prompts and just reposted it. And that does happen all the time. But if you type something in with good prompts and then repolish it and go over it once or twice, it could be largely AI generated. Most people aren't ever going to know the difference. So as it becomes more sophisticated at mimicking human language, there's that risk that communication becomes, increasingly kind of generic. It becomes like it's going to follow this certain type of formula. And there's effectiveness to it, but in the same sense, a lot of it we realize that isn't that personal interaction. Now there's the ones where you can have it make a video of you, and currently and for the foreseeable future, those aren't wonderful. The voice inflection in a lot of them, it will fool some people, but once again, if it's not pulling in the right prompts, if it's not pulling in the right information, it's really not going to land as well. So what we're worried about with this is as more and more people rely on AI, and as AI is being trained on stuff it has already said or already posted, it kind of becomes this inbred circle of information. And that doesn't mean that they won't train it on outside information. That doesn't mean that it's going to lose so many things with this. But one thing that is at risk is that unique voice, that unique perspective, and some of the creativity that comes from human expression. With all that being said, what kind of works with this when it comes to a podcast? And why am I talking about this today? Well, the big thing is humans, we like humans. I also like computers, and I will be very frank with you. I ask questions of AI all of the time. I get some great information from it. That doesn't necessarily mean that I want to interact with it. I still want to interact with you, a person. There's so much of a difference with that still. It's that human interaction. It's genuine. It's relatable, and it's human. It's not just a machine. As we get more and more saturated through this marketing like AI generated content, one of the things that we are going to miss more is, like I said, it's going to be that human interaction. It's actually seeing someone on the screen, and there's those telltale signs that you know it is a human. There are certain things where you see it, your brain knows something is just a little bit off when it's AI generated. Right now, you can be pretty sure, especially with as many times as I mess things up, I am definitely not AI generated. With that being said, podcasting's got an emphasis on these unscripted, natural conversations, and it's personal storytelling in this. Be it between two people, or be it from just me telling my story to you. It's this unscripted thing. Now, granted, I've got some bullet points on the screen behind the camera. It's sitting right behind you there. I know you can't see it. But it's that unscriptedness. It's that natural human kind of flow of things that is huge. And when we're talking about stuff like this, that's what makes it that you are the expert in what you do, because people know that it's not AI generated content. They know it's you genuinely speaking about something to move those things forward. You're speaking from experience. You're speaking from research. You're speaking from this point of knowledge, and you're actually speaking about it in a natural way. Now, what I will say on the flip side of that is AI will spit out great content really, really, really quickly for you, but it may be missing some of that storytelling element. It's going to be missing some of that added, I guess we'll say it's some of that added fat that you listen to things for, to know that you're having a human interaction here. And that is such a huge part of this. It's that connection. Be it a connection with you, the viewer that's sitting inside my camera there as I talk to it, whether it's someone that's sitting across the table from me here. It's that connection that we're observing that makes all the difference in how this presents to people. If I wanted just raw research, I would go out and look it up. If I want to learn from conversations, then that is the key where this comes in. And that's how most people learn and absorb that information, is when they hear it in those conversations like that. So what you're getting from that is you're getting that deeper level understanding, because when you put that with the storytelling, when you put that with some of the other items, there's that connection to it. So rather than just hearing regurgitated data, you're going to get this deeper connection, not only with the information, but with the person telling the information. Another piece that I love about this is that with the podcast, it's an intimate setting. If I was sitting in this ginormous room that you guys would see, it's cold a little bit. There's not a connection. It feels like there could be someone speaking in a stadium. You don't necessarily feel a connection that way. The studios, we've got a good sized room here, but it's not necessarily a big room. The camera's not that far away. Now, granted, I am not awkwardly close to it, but in the same sense, this is a good conversational distance. This feels like I am talking directly with you, directly to you. And so on both the audio and the video side of that, you get that feeling of that closeness. The microphone, it's right here, right in front of me. It's probably a little bit closer than you'd like me to talk into your ear, but it gives you that sense of closeness. If I pushed the microphone way far away, you wouldn't have that. And that's something that once again, it helps to build on those connections that as a podcaster, as a marketer, it's those human connections that you're trying to build with people. You see this all the time when you talk to people about podcasts. They talk about podcasts that they hear. They talk about podcasts that they listen to, or ones that they watch, or the marketing pieces that they see from them. They feel a connection with those people. When you look at someone's YouTube channel, they know that person. They know what's going on with them. The flip side to this, and this is something that I see as a very interesting piece, is in-person events. We had COVID that we had to deal with a couple of years ago. It feels like both yesterday and a century ago at the same time. We lost those in-person events, and so many people love in-person events. When you have an in-person event, that's obviously not AI. That is you sitting face-to-face or standing or whatever with one or more people. There's an interaction happening there. The cross that you get to that with the podcasting is, once again, this very much feels like this one-to-one interaction. I am talking directly with you. It's that one-to-one interaction. It has that same in-person event feeling, because a couple of years ago, we realized we kind of miss that when it's not there. Now, where does the podcast fill in for that? In-person events can be difficult. There's cost, there's travel, there's accessibility. There's figuring out when you can do it, when anyone else can do it. Those are all things that play into this. And one of the reasons why I like the podcast is because the very definition of it is episodic on demand. You're here for people when they're ready, when they're available. I don't know about you, but my calendar does not have a whole lot of empty spaces in it. With that, when I want to hear from someone, when I want to talk to someone, it's got to fit into my calendar. Events don't always do that. I've missed a number of events that I've wanted to attend because there's something else going on. With a podcast, once again, I can get that piece of content. I can go out there and grab that and bring that in and listen to that. It can be 4 o'clock in the morning during a workout. It could be 11 o'clock at night if I can't sleep. It could be middle of the day. It could be when I'm driving in my vehicle. It could be any one of those times that you can reach people. That is one of the things that I absolutely love about it. The fact that now you've opened yourself up because there's this availability too. You've got such a wide audience that you can reach. Now, one of the things that we always consult with about this is making sure that you pick the exact person that you're going to talk to. We always go over this with anyone. Who is the exact person you're going to want to talk to? Because we realize other people are going to come along for that ride. So how do you leverage this as this podcasting technology to work in your favor? I mean, with all this AI stuff taking over in so many other realms, how are you going to be able to bring this in and to work with this? The biggest thing about this is to be authentic and share your personality. If you listen to me here on the podcast, if you see me here on the screen, if you meet me in person, you're pretty much going to get the same person all the time, 24/7. We never close. I am going to be pretty much the same person. The amount of coffee I have may have a bit of variance in that, but for the most part, you are going to get the same person. I'm authentic. I'm going to tell you exactly what I know, and I am going to be me. I 100% realize I may not be everyone's cup of tea. In fact, I know I am not everyone's cup of tea, and I don't really want to be everyone's cup of tea. And that should come through in that authenticity. What the other thing is making sure that you can engage with your audience through like questions and answers and social media and stuff like that. We're going to start working on building our community so that way we can all work together to make sure that we are pushing things forward at a good rate for all of us. I mean, if you've ever received an email from me, you know my tagline in there is success is a shared thing. And I truly believe that. And I want to make sure that the rising tide will raise all ships. So we're going to work on stuff like that. The other thing that I want to say is that you invite guests who share your values and interests. That way, you're going to get someone that's authentic. Now, what I do want to always warn about is don't invite a guest that is exactly like you, that thinks exactly like you, that is going to agree with you, because you're going to sit down, you're going to look at each other, you're going to repeat what each other says, and just keep nodding the whole entire time. And it's just nonsensical. You should have someone on that shares your values, shares your interests, but is an expert in a different area. They can bring some other expertise to what you're doing. That is huge. And that's the whole reason to have a guest on. I mean, it's not the whole reason. It's a big reason to have the guest on. You want to make sure that you are getting great information as well as sharing the social media. Like I said, we're also going to work on building this community up. We want other people to get involved. We want people to be around. We want people to be able to bounce ideas and ask questions of each other. If you are a guest, seek out podcasts that are in your niche or expertise, whatever. Be the good guest. Be who you want to have sitting across the table from you. Make sure that you are staying concise. Make sure that you're not wandering all over the place with your subjects. Like I said, I usually do bullet points, so that way I know I'm headed in the right direction. I've got a start, a middle, a beginning, and we know where we're going through the whole thing. Make sure that you do that with your answers. I love the EEC line that I learned in 10,000 Small Businesses, which is efficient, effective, and compelling. It's like an email when you talk. Go back, read through it, and say, okay, I just typed a paragraph. What do I actually need to convey my message? You'll notice you knock out about 3/4 of the things that you said, and you'll just go back to one thing for that. The other thing that I want to say is, as a guest, make sure that you are appearing authentic also. Don't go on to someone's podcast and say, hey, this is what I can do, when that really isn't 100% your expertise. Stay in your lane, and that way you can stay authentic. You want to make sure that you're appearing as you should to your audience and to their audience. Does that mean you may miss out on some podcast opportunities? Yes. Be okay with that. In the same sense, this is where an AI tool can help you. Go to someone's podcast page, ask an AI tool to summarize their podcast page for you, and think, is this a show that I'd like to be on? Do they do gotcha type journalism? Do they have philosophies that fit with mine? Are we going to be able to have a discussion when it comes to stuff like this, or are we going to have to just be an argument the whole time? Those are the things that we want to keep in mind, and those are the things that we want to look at. With all of this, as I mentioned in the beginning, as AI content is being generated for marketing, podcasting and these in-person interactions are going to be huge. This is where you're going to create an actual connection with your audience, with your people, and everything like that. That being said, do me a favor. Make sure that you're going out, you're finding podcasts to be on. Make sure you're finding the right guests, and make sure that you're building this audience with this authentic connection. Build with these people, bring them in, work with them. That is really the goal, that human connection. Speaking of which, You guys know how I always end things like this, that human connection. Do me a favor, take care of yourself, and if you can, take care of someone else too. I will see you very soon.